Hey everybody, it's Joe from Papa Jobo's. Today we're going to be talking about the new Obi-Wan series. We're getting our first look. I found out about it through Bounding Into Comics, and they pulled it from Entertainment Weekly's first look at it. They have a few clips over there. The very first thing I'm going to get into is why are they even making this show? It's not needed. We know what happens to every single one of these characters. In every single dangerous, ominous scene that we're going to see in Obi-Wan, if I choose to actually watch it, we know how it ends. We know what happens to Obi-Wan. We know what happens to Darth Vader. We know what happens to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. We know what happens to all of them, except for the new characters they're going to introduce to try and probably, I'm assuming, get the message across, as that has been the norm for Disney. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. The first thing that McGregor says is, we find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story rather broken and faithless and beaten, somewhat given up. There's a theme here. This is a theme that carries over from, obviously, the sequels. It carries over from probably Boba Fett, is that we need to break down, deconstruct, dehumanize, and destroy any of our previous characters that people loved, especially if they're a man for some reason. That seems to be an overwhelming theme with what Star Wars is doing. It's all, in my opinion, to get a message across. I will say in some of these slides that, you know, it's cool seeing that Ewan's back. It's cool seeing that Joel Edgerton is back. It's cool seeing that Hayden Christensen is back. That one excites me more than anything, just to see him back on screen as Darth Vader in some form. Am I going to watch this? I haven't watched anything since the second season of Mandalorian ended, and I found out where they were going with it. Obviously, they did some stuff with Gina Carano I didn't like, so I actually got fooled like everyone else into watching The Force Awakens. Left the theater absolutely pissed off. And then I got tricked by The Last Jedi trailer thinking, well, they're going to redeem this, aren't they? No, it became just an absolute nightmare for a Star Wars super fan. Yep, I'm a Star Wars super fan, always had been. Always will be with the old stuff. And then I didn't even see The Rise of Skywalker. I have no interest in it. Read the leaks, and it just sounded disgusting. I then wrote off Star Wars, boycotted it, wouldn't buy anything from them, wouldn't see any of their shows. And then The Mandalorian came out, and a lot of my favorite YouTubers were talking about how good it was. I was angry and upset with them, saying I was not going to watch this. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I finally, on a weekend visiting some family, was bored, turned it on, and I binged it. Ended up enjoying a lot of it. It was a little slow-paced, a little boring at times, but it got the feel of Star Wars right. It also stole from so many different points. The last scene in The Mando steals directly from a game called Dark Forces, which was made in 1995. Let's go ahead and get back to the Obi-Wan teaser. So besides the fact that this doesn't interest me based on the fact that I know what's going to happen with every character, let's get into the actual storyline, at least the very vague storyline that we know about. Obi-Wan's broken, he's faithless, beaten up, and somehow given up. He was never that. He was a little sad when he came to Tatooine, but someone who's broken doesn't actually go out of their way to, I don't know, watch over a small baby, watch over a family that's watching him, to keep them protected. So that just goes right into the deconstruction, the dehumanizing, and the destroying of our beloved characters. And I think the bigger point is this. Disney clearly doesn't want some of us as their fans. There's some other people on record as saying that or intimating it. They've clearly shown that they have a message to put out there. They've clearly shown that they don't care about the money, that they don't care about the previous fan base. And because of that, they've created this fandom, something that was called the Fandom Menace years ago. They've created us, people who are trying to fight back and get Star Wars back to a place where everybody could enjoy it. Everybody. There were people that I used to have vehement disagreements with in Star Wars, and after we disagreed, we'd go out and get dinner together. That's fandom. That's true fandom. The saddest part of all this to me, as I've explored it, as I've experienced it, as I've been through it, is simply this. They have ripped apart the fandom. That is disgusting. That is wrong. And it's horrible. I don't see how they're going to win anybody back. But they're happy with the money they're making, obviously. They're happy more so with the message they're getting out, which is to deconstruct, dehumanize, destroy, make sure they get their Marxist propaganda in there, make sure they check all the boxes for representation. We've seen the videos where there's actual memos stating they have to check boxes off and represent anything and everything in a movie, which is literal cultural Marxism. And I've talked about it in other videos. I'm going to do a video, a longer video on that in the future, because it is so important and relevant to what we're talking about. And I want people to start jumping on board more and more. They have been. We need to see more of it. But knowing what we know about it so far, it's very little. However, we can assume that Disney's going to just push right on through and shove their message into everything and anything that they want. It's too bad. But for me, the message is honestly superseded by the necessity for the story. Is it necessary to tell? Is it even interesting to tell? Knowing how it ends. We know what happens to every single one of our main characters in here. What is the point? Why is Hollywood so vapid? Why can't they tell an original story about Star Wars set after Return of the Jedi that isn't vapid, that doesn't have a message, that isn't insulting, and that isn't disgusting? Why can't they do that? Well, again, the answer goes back to the message. This all of it is rooted in that. In the end, they're going to take another beloved character, deconstruct, dehumanize, destroy, obliterate, however you want to say it. And we, as the Star Wars fandom, the true Star Wars fandom, are going to be left in the lurch again. And I can see why so many people are broken on Star Wars. I can see why so many people don't even give a damn about it anymore. As for me, I'm going to hold out hope that one day Disney gets smart and sells it to somebody who's going to respect it and start telling the stories that need to be told, that we want to hear, and bring the fandom back together. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Joe from Papa Joe Bo's. Peace.